one that when prices are down, you buy. Especially on Bitcoin, this always works. Very simple. See you next time. No, just kidding. So there are a lot of people calling for tops on this cycle right now, just based on weird fractals that they see compared to 2021. And in order to try to really match their bias, that they really just want the market to top. But in reality, most signs that have actually worked before, most of the indicators, none of them have fired. And we are nowhere close to greedy euphoria stages in terms of what people are feeling. So I really think this is a good time to be buying. And especially with the price today, with Bitcoin at 108K, it just touched the 20-week simple moving average, which has been the level that I have been monitoring. That is a value range to buy Bitcoin at in the bull run. And this has worked 3 times over the last 2.5 years as a really good time to be buying, really good price level to be buying. So we will cover all of those. I will give you my current strategy as to how I'm positioning in this dip to buy. I don't think you need to blow all your load right now. You can actually DCA in, even when you are trying to buy the dip. Using bots, using DCA, having a strategy there will both automate your process and also help you get better and better entries, and not having to fear that you need to time the absolute bottom. So that's everything I have prepared for today. Let's go ahead and get started. So right off the bat, Bitcoin is at $108,600 right now. It went to as low as 108,200. And this video really applies right now because it's touching right here. This is the 20-week simple moving average. If you guys have been following my content this cycle, I've been following these 2 average lines for the past year. The gist of it is this. When Bitcoin gets to the light blue line, that's the 20-week SMA or 21-week EMA. Those two are pretty similar. This used to be the long-term bull market support band that a lot of people refer to, which used to work really well in 2021 and 2017. So in the 2017 cycle, Bitcoin did not see as big of volatility drops and lasted that long. So people were buying at the 21-week or 20-week simple moving average. Now, for this cycle, this level still works to some extent, as everyone still knows about it. But the absolute support that Bitcoin needs to hold above now is a bit further down. That's the 50-week simple moving average, this dark blue line. And that's right now at 95,000. So how do you use these 2 lines? Very simple if you just want my current strategy. When we get to the 20-week simple moving average, that is a good level to buy because it's close enough to the absolute support, but you don't have to fear of missing out in case it just bounces back. Even if you buy here, it's a good level because that would have been leading you to buy at 94K before Bitcoin bottomed out at around 77K, but then quickly bounced back about 2 months after. And then you have here, especially when it chops a lot, if you just started buying when Bitcoin first crossed below the 20-week SMA, in June last year, that would be at 63,000. And then the eventual bottom here, these 2 wicks were at 53,000. So between 64,000 and 53,000, I treat that as marginal returns that not everyone should be chasing. Of course, if you want to wait, you can potentially get better entries. But I think we should be looking at starting to buy here and then continuing to buy more and more down as long as it holds above the 50-week SMA that's at 95,000 right now. You always want to scale in your positions because nobody really knows at exactly what dollar price it bounces back. So you need to be realistic. You just need, your goal here, and my goal here, is to just accumulate a lot of Bitcoin as long as it's in the bull run. And I need to buy, right? If I never push the buy button and I just wait for it to get lower and lower, it might never go there. And then the final time it goes there, maybe it's already over. So that's how I'm currently seeing the market. Very simple. Because we are at the 20-week SMA, I start buying. And since it's still holding above the 50-week SMA, we're still in a bull market. But we are now in a value territory, very good level. If you want more details on these, you can check out my Bitcoin trading plan video that I have made over the last couple months. So this video, my crypto trading plan for the summer, I covered this exact same thing. Back here, you see these two averages were a bit lower, 83K and 94K. So as price goes up, these will slowly move up as averages as well. So we shouldn't see 80 something K on Bitcoin anymore. I don't want to see that. And if we see that, something is seriously wrong. So you can check those out with these two videos. So this one right here, crypto trading plan for the summer, as well as even earlier than that, Bitcoin price prediction for 2025 and my thesis to follow the bull run, exact same thing. Okay, so that's the update. I'm starting to buy. Now, a lot of people are saying now that, hey, look, this current drop is somehow this trigger that the bull run is over because blah, blah, blah. Okay, let's dive into some of the popular things, popular signals that people have been throwing around out there. So here is one. Bitcoin making higher highs in price while RSI making lower lows. This, I believe, is on a weekly time frame, yes. But also, some people are saying, okay, there's a daily bearish divergence, and this is just like 2021 when Bitcoin topped. There are two parts to this. So if you're looking at the daily bearish divergence, okay, because a daily chart is plays out here, you see about 1 month at a time from here to here. This entire chart of his is 3 months. 3 months here, 3 months here. So when you're looking at this kind of a time frame, it doesn't tell you what Bitcoin does over 4 years. That's usually how a bull and bear cycle runs, 4 years or longer at least. So on the daily time frame, you really can't use like RSI is overbought or RSI bearish divergence in order to say, okay, the 2-year uptrend is over, and now we're going to have a 2-year downtrend. I'll show you why that doesn't apply on the charts. So here is the daily time frame. And let me bring up RSI that I have had earlier. Where did it go? RSI. Wait, wow, it went up here. Here you go. So notice how the daily time frame, this peak and this peak here, Bitcoin did make highs. And some people are saying, okay, there's a bearish divergence on RSI or MACD histogram, even volume. So where price made highs, but the momentum indicator made lower highs. This is a classic reversal signal, yes. But when applied on the daily time frame, it only tells you 1 to 2 months of a trend at the longest. It can't tell you a year ahead. Because if you just zoom out to the past year, this signal has fired multiple times. So look at, for example, in December 2024 to January 2025, okay? Same thing here. highs on the price and lower highs on the RSI. So how do you explain that? Was that this back here looked exact same according to his thesis analysis, like 2021. So how come Bitcoin only dipped but went higher? And same thing, you can probably even find more down here. Let me see if I can find any. It's this one here. So when we were at December 2023, Bitcoin went from 44K to 48K. RSI was overbought here technically on the daily, and it had a bearish divergence on the daily time frame. And we did see a dip, but the bull market continued. So you can't use a daily time frame signal to say, oh, the 2-year bull run is over. That doesn't work. Okay, first of all. So anyone that's showing you, hey, look, I have a daily whatever, like an overbought signal or by divergent signal. At most, that can say, okay, we are in a 1 to 2 months local top. I can agree with you there. But you can't use that and apply it for 2 years, because there have been multiple times that this kind of a signal would have applied over the last 2 years. And all of those have turned out to be just dips. If you're looking at oversold, overbought, here it was overbought, right? Overbought. December last year, obviously overbought. So yeah, on the daily, it just doesn't work. You can't use a daily signal to say 2-year long bull market is over. So that's the first. Now, let me remove all of those. The other guy, this is just random, nothing against this guy, but obviously he's just pointing something out as well, which I do agree with to some extent, that the trend is weakening. So this is a weekly time frame. On the weekly time frame, we also have bearish divergence. Is he using RSI or MACD here? RSI. So he's saying that on the weekly time frame, with the highs on Bitcoin from December to the recent highs we made here, we also have lower highs on RSI. And even more so, you can draw this compared to the March high, and that was also a bearish divergence. So you can technically say, okay, Bitcoin is starting to round off as a top while momentum is slowing down, because RSI is a momentum indicator. It's based on volume data, not just price. That is true. Is this like 2021? Yes, it is like 2021, where we had a more rounded top and weekly candle RSI lower high. So does this necessarily mean that this must be the top? No. What this does tell you is that comparing this high we made in 120K push to December when Bitcoin went to 106K, this rally we had is a bit weaker than the Q4 rally last year. That is what the momentum indicator tells you. So you don't need me to tell you that, okay? And you don't need an indicator to tell you that. Think about the rally we had from September to December last year. We went from 65K to 107K. And from April to now, we went from 84K to 120K. By percentage difference, it's a bit smaller. And it took a little bit longer. That's all the indicator is telling you. Now, if any time that we have a weekly bearish divergence, that has to be the cycle top, then the cycle would have already topped in Q4 last year, right here. Just like his drawn divergence here, you see how the March 2024 high compared to December 2024 high was already a divergence where price made a high and RSI made a lower high. So by his analysis, even without you have to discount all of this rally we had this year. He's basically imagining that none of this exists and saying that, okay, we have a weekly high in price and weekly low, lower high in RSI. And this alone would have looked exactly the same to 2021. Look at those two. So how come the market didn't top in December last year? This is the same signal already proving itself wrong. So that's why you really can't use these things as a definitive answer to tell you that the bull run is over. What it tells you is the trend is weakening compared to the last rally up. That is true. So this bearish divergence comparing the RSIs tells you that this push that Bitcoin made from 55K to 106K is a bit weaker than the last push it made from 25K to 70K. That's all it is. That's all it tells you. So at some point, we will top. But you can't simply use a one-time bearish divergence to tell you that the cycle is over. So yeah, if you're looking at RSI, MACD, overbought, oversold, divergences, it tells you short-term local highs, but it doesn't tell you cycle top. Okay. Now, the other type of analysis that I have seen is like this. Again, nothing against any of the analysts, any of the other creators. So some people are saying, hey, look, the current charts look very similar to the 2021 top, where if you overlay the fractal of 2021 to the price right now, so far it looks the same. That is true. I'll give you that. That is true. So basically, he's looking at these two slightly higher highs and saying, okay, we have a high here and we have a slightly higher high. But I'll present this question to you. How many times has Bitcoin topped before in a pattern like this, where it made a high and it made a barely higher high? Guess how many times? One time. You look at past cycles, okay, 2017, it's different. It's a blow off top. And then you go to 2013, it's totally different. It's like one big rally and then big correction for 6 months, another big rally. So this is, and even before that, there has never been a type of topping pattern that has been consistent on Bitcoin. That's a fact. So in order to use any pattern, you at least have to say, okay, this has worked not just one time, it worked at least twice before. But there is no topping pattern on Bitcoin that has worked every cycle, because we have 3 cycle tops before, and in 2021 it looked like this, in 2017 it's completely different, and then in 2013, 2014 it's completely different. So back to right now, yes, so far it looks like 2021, but back here, okay, if you discount all of this, it looks just like 2017. Why weren't people saying that, oh yeah, it's just gonna go straight up like 2017? If you overlay the 2017 chart against the Trump rally or against, March 2024 rally, you could have made the same exact argument, saying that, oh, we need to have, we're going to go up 6 months consecutively now. A lot of people have realized that that's completely not a good way to look at the market, because when you have a pattern that has only worked one time, you can't use that as a signal. So that's my take on that. This type of pattern, yes, it was the top of 2021, but it's one time. So how do you use something that has only occurred one time as a signal to say this time it has to occur the exact same way as the one time only? It makes no sense to me. So that's why, I don't like that analysis at all. Even way less so than the bearish divergence part, because at least the bearish divergence, the RSI overbought, oversold, it's a very well tested, very well established technical indicator that tells you when something is overbought or oversold in the local trend. And at least you can say, okay, we could be looking at a correction. That's true, but this tells you nothing. Comparing this here to say, okay, now we must be exactly like that and show us a top. That's pretty insane analysis, to be fair. Okay, so those are some of the like common ways that people are panicking over right now. But I don't think it really just comes from PTSD. There's not really any signal there to be paying attention to. What I do think this is much more likely is a bear trap. So to be just completely, breaking this down, a bear trap is when something appears to be in the decline in the short term, but is about to rise in value. I think this is a classic bear trap in Bitcoin that's happening right now. CZ telling people to stop selling on the dip, avoid doing this. Why is it like this? Well, very simple. Bitcoin is nowhere close to the cycle euphoria stage. So I have talked about this in my 4-year cycle video, where we have looked at the last 3 cycles, how much Bitcoin has increased above its average values by these times towards the end of the cycle. So by the average percentage returns, a euphoria stage on Bitcoin price should be at 180K plus right here. But we are at 115, 120. So what's going on? Price hasn't gone there, but people are panicking. Pretty classic bear trap. You can also look at all of the cycle top indicators from previous cycles that actually have repeatedly worked. For example, Pi cycle top indicator, it worked in 2014, it worked in 2018, it worked in 2021, and it's not there yet. Right now, it's really far away. See if we can zoom in on this. Here you go. So in order for Pi cycle top indicator to hit, Bitcoin has to cross over to 188K right now in order for it to reach the same levels of bear market top territory. Bull market top territory. You might say, hey, look, how come this indicator is better than the other ones? Because it has worked multiple times, not just one time. In order for its signal to work on any chart, you at least have to have multiple data points. And there has been 3 data points of a bull market top. And there are signals that have worked 3 times before. And that's definitely a higher probability to repeat than something that has only worked 1 time. Okay, so that's the Pi cycle top indicator. Another one that's pretty clear to see is the Mayer multiple. This is very simple, taking the 200-day moving average in Bitcoin price and showing you what the current price is on Bitcoin, how many multiples higher is it above the 200-day simple moving average. And usually, not even just usually, the most conservative way to make this accurate is by taking 2.4. So if Bitcoin reaches 2.4x on top of 2.4x multiple on top of the 200-day moving average, that usually is a very overbought level, which has given us the early 2013, it peaked 1 time, but in December 2013, it peaked for sure. And then in 2018, it peaked, predicted the cycle top. 2019, it did fire once. 2021, it predicted the cycle top again. We are nowhere close to there yet. We are basically sitting right at the 200-day SMA. So this has worked multiple times. It's very conservative as well, because not only did it tell you to exit correctly over the last 3 cycles, but it even gives you like local tops. And by this multiples indicator, Mayer multiple, we're not even at a local top in terms of how high Bitcoin price is compared to the moving averages. So why are people panicking? I simply don't get it. Yeah, obviously you can look at like fear and greed index. It's sitting right at neutral, 50. So why are people panicking? I don't get it. I think a lot of people really just want to call the top very early for whatever reason and don't pay attention to those. Okay, in terms of fundamental stuff, just really quick, the Fed is most likely going to cut rates. Currently, the percentage chance, according to CME, is still 87% that they're going to cut rates in the September 17th FOMC meeting. And just this morning, the US inflation data came out, and they are exactly as expected, exactly as projected from the Fed themselves. So PCE 2.6%, core PCE price index 2.9% year over year, expectation 2.9%. You can plug this directly into ChatGPT to let ChatGPT tell you how to interpret this. Essentially, what it will tell you is, since the Fed predicted this and saying this is likely what the inflation data will be, and it came out exactly like they predicted, that means there's no surprises. That means they're still working off of the old inflation data, but unemployment data is very bad for them. So now the issue about unemployment is much more important, which leads them to a rate cut. So that's why most of the interpretations that you'll see today are about the inflation data is completely as expected, which doesn't impact the decision for the Fed to make a rate cut in September. So it's most likely still going to happen. That's why the percentage chance is still the same. So knowing this, the fundamentals are also there. Next month, we're going to get easier monetary policy, easier rates, looser monetary policy. So why sell now? Makes no sense. Okay, so back to the charts. I want to start buying at 108K. And as long as Bitcoin holds above 95K, which is the 50-week SMA, the bull market bottom line, then we're good. So how do we execute this? You can just buy. If you don't have much time and you are truly a long-term investor, you can just buy right now. Buy at 108K and monitor the price maybe once a week, as long as it's above the moving average, currently at 95,000. You keep holding. If it drops below the 50-week SMA, then you worry. You don't even need to monitor the move up of this as much, because the 50-week SMA is not going to move down. As long as price is trading higher than the 50-week SMA, this average level will only get higher. So the bull market bottom line will only get higher and higher. So if you just want one price level that gives you, at the current moment, what determines Bitcoin being a bull run or not, it's 95K. You take that number to the bank, simple. Even next month, okay, this level might be at 96K. If you use 95K, you're just even a bit more conservative. That's totally fine. So take that to the bank if you want, and just thank you for joining if that's you. Now, for me, I'm using bots. I want to get a better position on this because in case we get a deeper drop, let's say to 105 or 100K, I want to ladder in. So how do we do that? I have just started a new bot for a Bitcoin swing trade bot. I have the copy link that I'm going to show you, and I'm going to set it up to copy on my trading challenge account right now. So this one right here, I've just added it, where I have the low range at 95K, exactly at the 50-week SMA. And the upper range I have set at the recent swing high at 124K. And I'm gonna go ahead and open this position live right now in the trading challenge account, so you guys can see how I can use this to scale in. So I'm gonna click on that. And this is a bot that I've just opened 2 hours ago. Copy the bot. And can I do the set? Okay, I can't do the settings here. So I'll just show you guys what that looks like. So the low range, taking the whole number, is just 95,000. High range, 124,000. You can use the grids of 120 that I have in the settings. This gives you 0.15% minimum of profit per grid. This is a recommended level. The reason why I set it like this is as following. So 95K is the 50-week SMA. You see how the buy orders are from the current level, which is basically right at the 20-week SMA, until the 50-week SMA. So as long as Bitcoin gets lower and lower, this bot will buy until the bottom line is hit. And on the upside here, because we have all these sell orders, this is actually a very conservative bot. Technically, it's way more neutral than a bull market bot. Because, look at it like this. When I choose to open this bot, I click create. Let me put in some, let's say $1,000. You see how it buys 23% of Bitcoin right away at 108K-ish. And then it keeps 20% on the side to buy more on dip. And it will keep the rest 56% as reserve. So you have a very low liquidation price. You have a lot of stables on the side if you want to buy at a later time. The reason why this is very conservative is because it only buys a little bit at the current market price, and it gives you a lot of stables on the side. When you have this very even split between your buy orders and your sell orders. Now, if you are following my long-term bots, the hold bot one, for example, where we have the low range at 94K, this is the last time that I updated it, and the upper range at 200K, which is the eventual take profit target that I have for the bull run. If you use that setting right now, let me go to right here, and let's put 200K as the upper limit. What you'll notice is you have way less buy orders and way more sell orders. So in order for this bot to open, if you choose to create this setup, you see the splits are different. This bot will actually buy a lot more Bitcoin upfront and only keep a small amount of stables to buy the dip. So the reason why I'm setting up a swing bot here is so that it can really focus on buying this dip instead of something to hold. By doing it this way, where we have a even buy and sell range between 95K and 124K, like this right here, essentially it really is quite a conservative strategy. Your liquidation is all the way down at 20K, and it buys a little bit and it helps you continue to buy until 95K. Very simple. If you want to buy even more aggressively, you can do something very unique here, which is setting the low range at 95 and then setting the high end range at the 20-week SMA, so 108K. This bot will then look like this, where it doesn't have any sell orders and it only focuses on buying first. And it will only start working as a sell bot to arbitrage if price gets lower. So effectively, this is like DCA plus grid bot for arbitrage. If you truly believe that we are going to head lower, like towards about 100K, this kind of setup is even better. Because when you set it at these price ranges, you create a bot, look at what happens. It buys nothing upfront, and it just keeps 84% of your stable coins on the side to buy Bitcoin once it gets into this range. And then it will start doing its arbitrage magic where it will buy low and sell high in this range. And that's probably even better strategy because looking at what Bitcoin has tended to do once it drops below the 21-week EMA or 20-week SMA is that it chops for a period. Look at this. It chopped for about 2 months there, and it chops for about 3 months there. So this might even be better if you want to take this. Personally, I just want to at least have a position on this dip. So I have it set at this kind of a range where it will buy a little bit at current level, and it will continue buying until 95,000. So you guys can go ahead and copy this bot using my link in the spreadsheet. BTC Swing Bot. I have just opened this for copy, and I'm going to add money to this from my trading challenge account right now. So right here, I'm going to take some profits from the other bots. So for instance, from the Solana bot, I can release investment. I believe I have already released investment one time on this. Yeah, I did it this morning. Here on the Hype bot, I'm going to release profit, this $600 from the grid. Let's take that. And you see the grid profit got reset. And we can do this for the XLM bot. This one is actually even below the range. So now it's just holding XLM. I'm not going to close this because I know it's going to bounce back as long as Bitcoin bounces back. So I'm going to release profit, take the grid profit from that. SWI is also below range, just holding there. This World Liberty Fi bot we have opened just last week. It's doing really good, up 61%. So on here, I can actually do two things. I can not only release the grid profit, but also take the price increase profit. That's way more, by reducing the principal investment. So I'm gonna do that, release profit, taking the arbitrage profit, $550. Nice, and then I'm going to reduce investment. And let's say I want to take the same amount as this trend P&L, so $2,600. So I can keep about the same initial investment of 10K in there. 2,600, yeah, let's say that. Reduce investment, okay. Boom, okay. So now you see my liquidation price decreased because the extra margin is still in there. So once I have done that, then I want to take my extra margin amount, withdraw the margin, and then redeposit the margin into the actual investment and also compound the trend P&L. So we get back to about 1-to-1, 5K investment, 5K extra margin. So let's do that, compound right here. Okay, 5K, and then I'm gonna redeposit my extra margin, about 5K. Yeah, that was roughly the same liquidation price that I had before. Add margin, nice. So basically this helped me take the grid profit out, take the price increase profit out, while keeping the same initial investment and liquidation price the same. So now I believe I have about 6K total that I can use for the Swing Bot. Okay, now we go to the BTC Swing Bot, copy bot. Let's see, yeah, this amount. I'm just gonna do the whole number, 6K. Actual investment, 14K, which is about the 25%, that makes sense. Liquidation at 59,000, yeah, way far ahead, so totally fine. Activate bot. There you go, that's in. Good. So let's check out the details. Parameters, low range 95,000, upper range 124,000. Nice. That's it. So this bot, what it's effectively doing now is just like what I've shown you guys earlier. 124, 120 grids. It's doing this. So it bought about 25% of the position, and it will keep buying until it gets to 95,000. And if we just bounce from here, it will start to sell. So this is on top of my current hold position. And at some point, if Bitcoin dips further, let's say it gets to 100K, what I plan to do with this is to use the bot settings on here. And let's say we dip further and further to maybe 100K. So this bot would have already bought quite a bit. It will be in a slight loss because it averages down, but as long as Bitcoin is in a bull run, that's totally fine. So if it manages to accumulate a lot more Bitcoin, once Bitcoin gets lower into this buy range, then I will adjust the price range, edit price range. And I will then turn this from a swing position into a long-term hold position by keeping the same lower limit, but changing the upper limit to be the eventual bull market take profit. What this will do is then buy in much more Bitcoin at the lower price, but and transition it from a short-term bot into a long-term bot. But because Bitcoin is currently at 108K and not 100K, I'm not too comfortable in letting the bot just buy everything upfront. So I'm gonna wait, only let it buy 25% of the position. And then if it gets lower, I will then edit the price range so it will buy much more aggressively. I will cover this on stream as well. If we get to 100K, you best believe I'm gonna make another update and say, hey, this is like a super great time to buy because we're likely not gonna get Bitcoin below 100K again in this bull run. But we're not there yet. So wanna take it one step at a time. And this is what the bot will help me to do. It's already starting to buy and it will continue to accumulate, and I can change it to buy more aggressively if it gets lower. Okay, that's it. And I will be updating the bot's log as well after today's live stream, according to the actions that I have just done. And you guys can find all the links in my bio as well as a tutorial video of how to use the bots. Okay, so back to the beginning of the video, just start buying at the 20-week SMA, 108K. And the level you can take it to the bank is 95K. As long as Bitcoin stays above 95K, that's a bull run. If it gets below 95K, come back to me because for sure I'm gonna be going live if we drop to 95K, closely monitoring if the bull run is still on. So you can count on, some updates if it happens. But if we just chop in this range, don't panic. I've already given you guys the full context here. it will just be like this and just be like this. So don't listen to like daily candle signals. This is very typical chop in the bull run. Focus on buying, focus on DCAing, do what you have to do. Buy in slowly so you can hold as long as the bottom line holds at currently 95K. So follow me on X at VirtualBacon0x for quick alpha before I make them into these live streams. And check out our bots, check out our trading bot tutorial with the first link in the description. And all of the swing bots are currently set up in our dashboard. You can find all the settings, all the price ranges here. Even if you don't want to use them, you can just take these like low range and high range. Basically, it's when I believe the current support level will be, and the highest range, upper range, is what I believe the resistance will be. Very simple. Even if you don't want to use the bots, you can take them as trades. And when it gets really close to the low range, you take a long. When it gets high to the upper range, you take profit. That's what the bots will automatically do for you, basically, and do some arbitrage in the middle. Nothing too complicated about it. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys for joining the live stream, and I will see you on the next video and next live stream. Bye-bye.